Hi guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how to build the perfect foam machine. This is great for parties, kids parties, or just playing around with your kid in the backyard. You're going to love it. So let's talk about the components. Right here we have the blower. This is a 18-inch 1 horsepower blower. And what's nice about them is it's weatherproof and it's powerful enough. It has, I believe, 3200 CFM, which is perfect for this kind of application. It's technically an an air dancer, they call them. Those wacky arm wheeling tube men that they see outside of car dealerships. That's the blower for them. And that's probably your most expensive part. I'll put a link in the description for where I got that from Amazon. I believe it was around 200 or maybe less, 150 maybe. All in all, the project's going to run you around $300. So I'll put the link in the description for most of the parts. So one of the things I want to talk about right away is this fabric sock. Now, I went through probably 4 different kinds of fabric trying to make this work, because a lot of foam machine tutorials tell you to use weed block, this stuff right here. And the problem with it, and I tried other brands too, that's another brand right there, it's too tightly woven. Okay, even though you can almost see through it, it's too tightly woven, and it's not giving you enough mesh to create the foam. So I found this at a fabric craft store up here in Pittsburgh. It's called Pat Catan's, but like a Joann Fabrics would have it as well. And this is basically almost like a blanket, almost like a hospital blanket. And you can see it's like perforated, it's checkered woven, and those little air holes there. You know, they're really tiny, but they're big enough. It's almost like a mesh. Now you don't want too much mesh, so I wouldn't suggest getting like a net or anything, just straight mesh, because it won't hold back the air and the water as much as this will, because this is only slightly mesh. So this was a huge factor, because believe me, I tried this, 2 different weed blocks, a couple other fabrics I picked up from the craft store, and this was the final one I landed on, and it worked immediately. So this is very important that you get this right. So the way I made the bag, I just wrapped it around the circumference of the machine, and I stapled it, and then I just stapled it all along one side. You can see my seam right here, and then I did the same for the bottom to create that seam. So I just made like a bag out of it. Only needs to be about 20 inches long, give or take. Okay, so then I have the power switch right here, plug. This will get plugged into a 6-way adapter. Now if you take this bungee cord off here, this is what's holding it on. Let me just try to do this with one hand. There we go. You'll see what the plumbing looks like underneath. This is what's holding the sock on. I think this is like a 36-inch bungee cord. Something like that, yeah. Because even though it's an 18-inch diameter, the circumference works best with this. I think it's a 36-inch bungee cord. You take this sock I made here off. The machine comes with this Velcro on it. I probably could have put Velcro on this sock, but I don't know how well that would work. I feel like a bungee holds it on there better. Alright, so I'm just going to move that for now and show you the plumbing. So I just used some PVC parts I picked up from Home Depot. This is just your basic 3/4 inch male adapter. Optional shut off. I really don't think I even needed this. Then it's coming across to an elbow. I clamped it a couple times here and here. I put this foam in here This is just like a pipe insulation foam to create a better seal, because my sock's going around this arch, and I wanted it to be a little more airtight. So this is kind of like something I felt like it should have been necessary to create more of a seal. And then that elbow comes down into a 4-way T, and then I immediately reduced down my 3 fittings to 1/2 inch with a bushing. Now I'm in 1/2 inch PVC, 1/2 inch elbow to female thread, brass nipple close, because brass doesn't rust. And then I got these sprinkler heads, and this is another important thing. I got 3 of them. These, a lot of foam machine tutorials do not talk about these and where you get them. Up here in Pittsburgh, they don't sell them at hardware stores. They don't sell them at any box stores. I searched and searched and searched. I found them on Amazon, and I went through these ones, which I got ordered in from Home Depot, and I ended up having to kind of glue gun them on these brass adapters, and they just did not work right at all. Because it was like some weird metric size and it didn't fit anything I could find at Home Depot. Anyway, these are 1/2 inch female, which adapts right to a 1/2 inch nipple, and these sprinkler heads work great. I got 3 of them on Amazon. I think I spent maybe $3 or $5 a piece on them, so they aren't that cheap compared to these blue ones. They were probably $1 a piece. But I suggest you get these. I will put the link in the description, because they work, and I feel like I can trust them a lot more. So yeah, whenever the water turns on from the sub pump, which I'll go over next, it flows through here, out the sprayer heads, and the fan blows against the water. The sock traps the water, and it creates foam like crazy. I tested it last night, and it worked really great. I'm going to go over the other half of the machine, and I noticed people are always asking about what the foam does to your yard, and it seems like it doesn't really affect anything that much. This is from last night. This whole yard was filled. There's a little foam residue left on the ground, but I feel like by later this afternoon this will just be gone. I mean, there was foam 4 feet high here last night in a 20-foot radius. I just set the machine on top of the trampoline here. So you hook this end of the hose up to that PVC, just 3/4 inch standard hose, adapts right to PVC, and that hose goes up and into my trash can here. The trash can is what holds your water reservoir. This hose here is adapted to my sub pump. This is a 1/3 horsepower sub pump. I will also put in the link in the description. And this here is 2 3/4 inch female adapters and a small piece of pipe in between. I pipe dope all my fittings as well. Pipe dope isn't just for thread sealant. It's also for lubrication, so you can take them back off. A lot of people don't realize that, so I suggest doing it. The solution is very important. That's also something I had to experiment with. So for this can, the whole can is 50 gallons. I haven't filled it all the way up yet. I've done a half can, so that's 25 gallons. And for a half a can, I used 11 11-ounce bottles of Dawn dish soap. So what's that, 121 ounces for 25 gallons. So if I were to use a whole can, that'd be 242 ounces. So it takes a lot of soap. I think that's around 2 to 5%. Make sure you actually do that math for whatever can you're using, and use something to stir it, like a long stick. I just used like a broom handle for mine, and it worked great. Keep your electrical components high out of the water, and make sure your hands are completely dry when you're turning on the switches, because I got zapped the other day when my hand was a little wet when I hit the on switch. So just keep that in mind. Alright guys, I'll send out another video showing it in action, and that's how I'll finish up this video.